Hi, it's Mark Samoyda with Curious Inventions. Let's start up Visual Studio again for Windows 8. I want to go over the concept of an instance variable. Like we've seen these variables inside of this method, and we'll get to methods in a future video, but this is just a bunch of code that executes between the curly braces here and here when we click the button. If we take like an integer I equals 55, we know that this will print out 55 when we run it. So let's just run it and make sure. 55, okay. Now what happens if this 55 gets reset every time we click the button? But what if we don't want it to get reset? One thing we can do is we can move it out of here. I'll cut it out of here and cut it out, and I'll paste it right above the method definition up here. So now we have I equals 55, and down here it'll work exactly the same way. Just run it and make sure. Okay, so we still get our 55. Now, if we didn't have this defined outside, let me comment out this line here. Now, you'll notice we get this little red squiggly line underneath the I. The name I does not exist in the current context. It just does not know what I is. So if we defined it here, it'll know what I is, and if we define it outside of the method, it also knows what I is. And that's fine. Now the red squiggly line went away because we had commented it, and we're good to go again. Now one thing we can do is we can say I equals I plus 1. Now this initialization here is going to happen only once when we start the program. So I is going to be equal to 55. And then when we click the button, I is going to be equal to I plus 1. So this is going to cause it to be 56. And then when we click it again, it's going to be 57. And this is a way of counting. So let's run it and watch it count. Right, so as I click the button, you can see the counter going up because we're adding 1 to I each time. And remember, if we commented out this I, and we put that line down here, I equals 55, let's watch what happens there. It stays at 56. The reason it stays at 56 is because when we click our button, it's going to create a new local variable called I. So I here is called a local variable. It's local to this method. And once this method ends, I goes away and gets recreated. However, if we take out that local definition of I, and we put the definition outside of the method, it becomes, instead of a local variable, it becomes what's called an instance variable. And we'll get into instances in the future, but for right now, just know that this is only going to get set once to 55. That way, when we come into our method, it will continually increment.